You gotta hug all the ice. Welcome back to Fog Entertainment, and this is a big whatever, right? Tony's crew is beginning to dwindle as we reach the final couple of episodes of the series. But the question here today is, what if Tony whacked Paulie? Now we've actually put it up for a poll whether or not Paulie deserved it, but that's for a different video entirely. So we'll visit that later down the line. But like the question is, what if, right? So what it probably would have required is Paulie admitting to Tony about the fact that he was the one that told Johnny Sack about the joke about Jenny. Now, that's all good in the hood. If he tells that, I mean, Tony was literally just looking for like any justification to whack Paulie. He was looking around that boat. He did not want to pick up any beers. He wanted to pick up the sharpest object on that boat, shiv Paulie into oblivion, and kill him. But then, due to Paulie not actually admitting to it, he doesn't exactly go through it. But let's say he does go through it, right? I'm going to assume that Paulie would have to admit that he told Johnny Sack the joke, right? Because we've got to bear in mind, is like that joke, the beefs between New York and Jersey kind of originates from that point of view. So I can definitely see why Tony would be pissed at Paulie for that. But it's like, imagine he just killed him, right? And Tony does a lot. I mean, he actually kills a lot of the members in his own crew, right? But say, imagine Tony just drops Paulie here, right? Whether he strangles him and just fires him into the sea, whether he stabs him, slices him up and fires him into the sea. Like, what are the rest of the crew going to think? What, Paulie went down with you, Tony, and how did he die? How would Tony have said about it? Would he have just said, well, I went out fishing and I came back and he's no here? What would the end game be? What would the actual excuse be from Tony Soprano about why Paulie Gualtieri's no longer there? He's no with him. I don't know. He just disappeared. Would Silvio really buy that? You know what I mean? Like they've kind of had doubts in the past whether or not, what happened to Ralph? Did he disappear? And then obviously Tony laid it on thick about what happened to Ralph. Oh, had to be New York. I don't think Johnny Sack would go to these sort of lengths. And you know, he killed his own cousin as well, and there's just so much lies getting spread from Tony Soprano. It's like, can you really trust what is even being said here? And from him himself, what does that do for the rest of the crew? You know, you can clearly see that like they were kind of getting demoralised by Tony to a degree, and it's like, I just don't understand what would have been next. It's like, you know, by the end, Tony was just coming like more and more detestable. And then like the guys, they must be thinking, hold on, we could be next. You know, it's like he. And then you got to factor in like, what would the fans think if he killed him? Now obviously, yeah, he does kill Chris, right? The more years pass about Tony killing Chris, and the more I look at it, I kind of accept it more to a degree. You know what I mean? It's just it's a crazy situation, and I think Paulie's actually got to give Beansy a lot of money, man, because Beansy kind of talks Tony out of it, even though Tony was never really talking to Beansy about whacking him. He's kind of just talking about how fucking annoyed he was, and then we see New York. I mean, people are like, oh, Tony, if Paulie was working with New York, but we see literally at the end of the one of the scenes, and like when they're discussing who to take it, and like, Paulie's not that high up anymore. We're not killing him. It's insane. But I think killing Paulie, because I think a lot of people's favourite characters is Paulie. And also, he's a guy that's been around, feels like at that point, since like day one. So, it would have been crazy if Tony just fucking absolutely fired a knife into Paulie and fired him over the edge. In Miami, of all places, you would have needed Dexter Morgan to clean that up. But yeah, folks, that's what if. I think the crew would have found out and they would have been pissed at Tony, and Jersey would have fell apart. And rightfully so. You can't just go around killing members of your own crew like that. You really can't. Although Tony thought he could. Anyway, leave your thoughts down below. That's why if Tony killed Paulie, I think New Jersey would have folded. Like they nearly do anyway.